Rahman Rahim. Yeah, on the subject of Vietnam and McNamara and Johnson, at least those people were Americans. You know what I mean? Eisenhower and all of them, they were, kind of corrupt Americans, very corrupt Americans, but they was Americans. Okay, now we're dealing with a group of people who are controlled and manipulated by Zionists. That means that when you see things now, it will be Vietnam plus. Because although the Zionists had gained some power during those days, they wasn't 100% in control of media and everything. They was up there, they 70, 60, 80%. Hollywood, there's a, what was that thing by Jeffries, the guy up in New York, the black professor, Empire of Their Own? Empire of Their Own. Well, just remember what you see. Warner Brothers. Who is Warner Brothers? Fox, 20th Century Fox. Who's 20? All you do is go and all of these are immigrants. Russian type, they're not Russian, but they were oppressed by Russians. And when they come here in the late 1800s and early 1900s, they got rolling and they opened penny arcades and other things where you could go see little flicky things. And then pretty soon they developed, or they took inventions like the movie camera, and they exploded with it. And then by the 1920s, the movies they was making, they moved out to Hollywood, all of them. See, that was it wasn't desert, but that was orange groves in those days. They moved out to Hollywood, to LA. And when it says empire of their own, that means the American mind, the American vision of the Old West, the American vision of American history, the American vision of what beauty is. All of that comes from a Jewish immigrant to America. The people that came here told the American story to Americans, and they swallowed it. Hollywood, all the things, all of Hollywood is that's what empire of their own mean. Those people wasn't particular Zionist, but they were Jewish people. Yiddish was there. That's what when they was by themselves, they spoke Yiddish. They didn't speak no English. These guys, anyway. All of that stuff that you saw on the movies or history about white American women being, the Me Too movement. Look at the guys' names. This is the third generation Me Too guys. This is third generation Me Too. The original ones was all them Hollywood moguls. Who was they knocking over? All of those Midwestern American beautiful women, what they call. And it wasn't just Zionists. You look at Al Capone's, one of his women, he would be rubbing her hair, and he would say, somebody say Al Capone was an Italian Jew, and let's not get bothered with all of that. Of course, he was my hero for decades. Not decades, a decade, a gangster, This is America. Me and you can make it. All we got to do is avoid what happened to him. But their view of America and women was all the same. you know, that European, remember they're Europeans, but they're Southern Europeans, dark-skinned, and you know, black hair, not blonde hair, all of that stuff. Okay, the point is that America is a grotesque invention. It was invented. America was invented. The people came over here, the 1619 Project, and first it was just a bunch of religious crackpots, well, religious people, and they had the Salem witch hunt. They did all of that, and they stumbled around and come up with a few ideas, and then they came up with the Constitution. But before that, of course, was the Articles of Confederation. They fought the Revolutionary War not under the Constitution, but under what's called the Articles of Confederation. That was the 13 colonies was united under 1775, the Articles of Confederation. And then the 1776 Thomas Jeffersonism. But all the things that came with the Constitution always was for them. They wrote out American Indians, and they wrote you and I. Well, they didn't write you and I out. It just said to keep unity amongst them. Remember the 3/5 compromise? That you can count Negroes since you got 4 million slaves down there. You can't count them as one person, but you can count them as 3/5 of a person for voting purposes, you know, and what have you. You have to remember, and when we read the Declaration of Independence and a lot of these programs we had, you know, it was, when you understand the document, you could say, well, how could they leave out a huge portion of the so-called American people? Well, they've always selectively included. And the people who were in charge always considered themselves as the prototype. And before, it was Americans, WASP, white Anglo-Saxon Protestants, right? That's who ruled America. That's what all the stuff about Kennedy was. Kennedy's a Catholic. He owed allegiance to the Pope. And so he had to clarify with everybody that I'm a cracker. I am a born and bred cracker, and I go along with all this crackerism. And ain't nobody from over there, I don't care who popified he is, he ain't telling me nothing. You ain't got nothing to worry about me. Now, he couldn't say that in exact words because the Catholics wouldn't support him if he was that out and out. But he did all of his code talking. All his code talk worked because he became president. Okay, when we get up to Vietnam, when we go through all of this stuff, America has been a traumatic experience for millions of people that's been here. It's been a trauma. They tell you 2, 3, 5, 10, 20% of it, their history and their view of it. You know, every time somebody got in trouble, Jane, a white woman, right? They used to call them cliffhangers. You ever heard of cliffhangers? That all them serials they showed us on Saturday or whatever, the white woman was hanging over the cliff, and then we used to have a record called Long Came Jones, Slow Walking Jones, you know, and that means the savior. It was always the white man, and the white woman was on a pedestal because she didn't have no rights, but she had a few rights. I remember a white woman saying in the 1946 movie, I'm free, white, and 21. Yeah. And that's the attitude. She was just speaking of what they just had their 20 years, had their right to vote and all of that. So she said, I'm free, white, and 21. That's the voting age in those days. Therefore, America is a monster history. It's a tragic history, but they made it the world up to last week was looking at it at the beautiful America. You got people would catch boats and stuff trying to get over here. Anything to get to America. Paved with gold. Streets of America, paved with gold. And for them, the people that came here, it was. Look at the movies now. How many Negroes from Mississippi is starring in movies? Hardly. None. The last Negro was, what's his name that we kind of like? Denzel, and that's about it. Huh? But he'll be gone in about 2 more weeks, right? I mean, right? Old timers. Who are all the new, who's playing Martin Luther King in late movies? Who's playing, they shoot down everybody in airplanes? Who's those guys playing those parts? You know? One guy's using the term old fay. He don't even know what old fay is, right? Right? Yeah. Anyway, America is a grotesque. I don't mean to be riding the broom on America, but imagine all the Indians that was here. Were they human? For him, they were not human. Why? He took everything from them and locked them up on a little reservation and then say, y'all a burden on us. You're a burden on American society. Right? And the Negro, the Mexicans, they used to have a picture of a Mexican with a sombrero on, sleeping under a tree with Z's going out. That means they're lazy. You see any lazy Mexicans? Sure, from anywhere down there, show me one. They working everywhere, and they working all day, and they'll get lazy. You know, they starting to head that direction now. But for the last several years, they've been happy to get here. But the way they treated them, they stole, can you imagine, all the West belonged to Mexico? Yeah. California, Arizona, Mexican talk, Spanish, the arid zone, Arizona. Nevada, nieve, snow. Yeah, snow, sure. Don't worry about Nuevo Mexico, New Mexico. Texas? Good God Almighty. Colorado, red, the color, Colorado. Right? And the white man from here just took it from them and then said, you guys are, they have a saying, the Mexicans have a saying, we didn't cross the border crossed us. In other words, the border that they used to have down there. You know the only reason in the Mexican War the United States didn't take all of Mexico? It could have, but it said America would not have that white look anymore. That's why. You remember the troops from the halls of Montezuma to the shores of Tripoli, the United States Marines went all the way to Mexico City and beyond. And I remember at the university in Mexico City, I was meeting with, or we'd have certain just cultural meetings, and so It was Mexicans and Americans. And the Americans, one of the Mexicans said, perfect English, of course, you stole our country from us. You stole da 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 da. And the dumb American said, we never stole nothing from you. So I got up and walked around the class from the halls of Montezuma to the shores of Tripoli, right? The halls of Montezuma, right? You take Mexico City and up in Peru, those were the greatest empires, and the Mayas, of course, that America ever known. And they just strolled down there and washed them up, right? And they don't know. So right now, Americans are so shallow. I didn't mean to get on this, but since we're here, we might as well stay. America is so shallow in memory. You know, and you have to remember, the people, the young people now have no knowledge of and no interest in all this stuff about what built America. And all of the stuff that they see in the news, if they watch it, because the news is more a middle class, middle aged phenomena. The other people get their stuff off the internet mostly, the young people. And they always telling me, Dad, you gotta do this. I said, I ain't gonna do it. They're telling me I could listen to lectures, telling me 5 or 10 years ago, the phone you have, you don't have to copy stuff off and put it on this. You could listen to it. It was 5 or 10 years before I even thought about it. I mean, when I listen to all of this, the lectures, I don't care who's the people we listen to all the time. Marubani, Mabubani, them, all of them, but the ones before, the black woman, all of them, that's when I first started, I said, dog. And then I discovered, when I really discovered it, I was trying to get some information on the Mau Mau. And I said, So I didn't do it on the phone, I did it on the computer, which later on I could do it on the phone. Then I typed in Mau Mau. Every film on the Mau Maus, I became a scholar on the Mau Maus. I mean, I've been in Africa, I've seen Mau Maus. The people out there was robbing on the highway robbers when I was in East Africa was ex-Mau Maus. Just like many of the robbers that you see right now in South Africa are ex-PAC, ex-everything. The government now, because the few fat cats at the top got everything and put everybody out. And that's cultural. I was telling the people in South Africa, especially the Indians, no, they were, the big ones. The richest people in South Africa that are Indians, that are the people that we work with all the time. No, we're going to work with the ANC. And so I was just telling them what's going to happen. You know, years ago, you could listen to some of the lectures and you could pick it out of what, that's not going to happen. We're going to support da-da-da-da. And how, I said, they're going to buy yellow Benzes and polka dot shoes. They wouldn't do that. I said, they're niggas. It ain't nothing you can do about it. They're niggas. You can't do anything about it. You know, I didn't say they was African, like our ancient origin. I said, those guys, those are niggas. Like our niggas in the U.S., you could take them, put them over there, and ours put over there to do the same thing. Steal all the money, give you big speeches and lie all day. They niggers. Ain't nothing you can do about it. Now they know. Sadly, they so sad. You see South Africa, South Africa used to be just like the U.S. Roads, telecommunications, all that stuff. You could go from here to there and you wouldn't miss a beat. You still can, but what I'm saying is that's the level that South Africa is on. That's why we told them in our lectures that we want to see, instead of Islam spreading from the north to the south, like Egypt, Sudan, and all that, and coming down, the British put a thing right across Kenya to stop the spread of Islam southward from Sudan. This is all colonial history. Everybody knows it. Well, the old folks know it, or people that want to know it. And then because of the Islam from the north was coming down into Africa, and the British said, we got to stop this. And also the Islam on the East Coast, right? They had to stop that, or stop the flow, So when the British took over, they changed the language. They changed Swahili if you look at all the other languages in East Africa, well, I'm going to just stay on the subject since I'm on it. It's a combination of Bantu and Arabic. That's why if you look at the seven principles, what's the first one? Nia. Right. What does that mean? Focus, intention, and all of that, right? Right. The second one, something or other. Anybody remember the principle? But I remember Ijuma, right? Emoja. Moja one, yeah. And then that comes from Juma, the gathering, collective work. They called it over there collective work and responsibility. Their greatest holiday in East Africa was Saba Day, the 7th of July, Saba 7, all that stuff. So the language, when you went to the museums, you would see all the other old languages was written in Arabic, not in English. The British changed it to English. In Indonesia, in Malaysia, these are millions of people, right? Malay used to be written in Arabic script. Yeah, till the British got there. Indonesia, those are the biggest Muslim countries, not physically, but they have 200 million Muslims in Indonesia. More than any other, it ain't that many Arabs in the world. They think it's an Arabic religion. Shoot, it ain't but 4 or 5 Arabs. There's 200 million people in Indonesia, and Malaysia is right under them. Anyway, the influence of Islam was interrupted by this Westernism. This Westernism, with their Hollywoodism and all that, have sold the people the biggest lie in history. The land of the free and the home of the brave, right? But Malcolm said it back then, chickens come home to roost. Whether you believe it or not, this is right what we're living through right now. This is the turning point in history. Yes, it's the turning point. It's not a surprise to us, but this is the time when the buildup behind the dam of history, when everything is building up, and then it gets cracks in it. And then the water starts seeping down from behind those big walls. And other times it gets wider. This is a historical reality. That's why in history it said something we read about Babylon, remember? the fall of Babylon. And one day, it said, that great empire, Babylon, it wasn't one day, it was thousands of years, 1,000 years before it crumbled. The United States didn't fall in one day. Over the last many decades, the United States have been crumbling. And since it never solved its problems, the gaps got wider and wider and wider. And in the last 5 wars, they've all been mostly against Muslims. Of course, they lost in Vietnam. Yeah. We had some of the Muslims over here, the Cham refugees. They were Muslims. Okay. A lot of the people in Cambodia those days. Okay, but the thing is that the United States lost in Vietnam. The United States lost big in Korea, right? The United States, you know, they had a little skirmish down there in Grenada some decades ago, and I think the U.S. claimed victory when this zillion people, they actually invaded Grenada. Remember that? Yeah, they invaded Grenada, maybe in 89 or 90, somewhere around there. Yeah. And they claimed victory. I mean, it's 10 people in Grenada. Not 10, but it's a lot of people, you know. They invaded, the United States invaded Grenada, and I think they claimed victory. That would be the only one. The Gulf War and any of the Gulf Wars, they lost all of those. In Afghanistan, the people told them, hey, man, this is the graveyard of empires. Everybody knew it. They said, man, people got sense. I said, Alexander the Great was rolling through here. He looked around. He said, keep going. And he kept going to India, right? He just kept on going. He said, maybe the spirits, something got to him, but forget it. And he stayed there. He conquered India. Then coming back to Greece, he went across the Arabian Peninsula, and he sent spies down to Arabia. You know what they told him? It ain't nothing down there but desert. It ain't nothing, and all the people do. Whatever we gain, it won't be worth it, because all they do, they fight and they drink, and that's all they do. They don't do anything else. They raise a few animals to stay alive. He went on across to the big show, Egypt, and that's why you find Alexandria, Egypt. He founded that city. And he went on and he left Arabia alone. He left it alone, and that's the same spot where this beautiful Islam was left to grow and develop, and the Arabic language is as grand and complex as any of what they call civilized language. They call it civilized. And there was a Palestinian professor back in the 80s. I had a little class in Islam, and I was just telling him. It was at a wedding up in Portland, Oregon, somewhere like that. He was a professor. His daughter was getting married. So he said, I said, yeah, see, the Arabic language is such a beautiful and complex language. You can go 15 levels deep, you know what I mean, on a word like salam, salama, you know, Islam, Muslim. It goes deeper and deeper and deeper with the same atris, taslim, assalamu alaikum, taslimat, peace treaty, all of those things that keep going deep, deep, deep from the root, right? Now that's as much as they could teach us without running us crazy. So he says, no, it's actually 45 levels deep. He's Arab, they teach them, and a professor, they just go, you know. It's normal for them. But they would confuse us after, what, man, what? You would forget what you learned. And anyway, so the point is, is that we live in a time of the manifestation of defects. All the defects of history are coming to a point. It just so happens that we live in the place of that where it's coming together. We happen to live in the United States. And we happen to live in an environment that if we can solve the problems here, we could solve the problems of humanity. If we miss the problems here, that's why Allah always produces a people to be ready to do His stuff. But Allah say, if you don't, I will produce a people who will love me and they won't be like you, you know. So I would say the Negro is at the end of his opportunity or chance. Now, that don't mean that we're correct in our analysis. It is an assumption based on time, place, and circumstance and what we're living through. Okay, since we got Negroes like Shopton and Uncle Jesse, all the new ones are worse than them. These dumb lawyers that I can't, don't know what I'm talking about, but I'm famous to, right? You see these niggas, these people, unbelievable. They're making them heroes. Those are the people, if anybody get a case, they go get them. When you start getting these type of cases, you realize that they got people selected. They select people that they're going to allow to have certain cases, and if they don't allow them, if they happen to get them, they're going to get guarantees that go along with them. Number one, if you give us that nigga right there, you're a lawyer, we're going to give you 10 free cases. Right? 10. You just hand them over to us. All right? Put potholes all in his case. You know what I mean? Certain things to say, certain things to do. You hand them over to us. We're going to give you 10 free rides. Now imagine now, this is the federal government telling you that you do this for us, we're going to make you rich beyond belief. Because you could go to any dope dealer after this and tell him, hey man, I beat that case for you for $1 million, and guarantee it to him. As soon as you beat it, he's going to tell all his friends, man, you get a certain case, then the price is going to go up. Let me see how much money this nigga got. He got $5 million. $3 million, Mr. Nigga, and I'll beat your case for you. Guaranteed. So niggas counting if I have to pay all this money, I'll have $1 million left. And I'll be free. And they can do it. Why? Because he done gave you up. He done gave up the one they wanted. Who do they care about Johnny Boy? Johnny Boy is going to give them another case in 5 years. Shoot, Johnny Boy going to have 20 more cases. Because he can't stop. You ever seen a dope dealer that quit selling dope? I saw one, me. I haven't seen, I'm telling you, and I've been looking for him. I'm talking about all of my home. Remember, that crew I was with, I knew all of them, and I haven't seen it. Not that it got big. Maybe a guy had a little trouble and said, I quit. He might have made it. Okay, but the point is we living in a historical period, a dispensation period. And that period has been coming all along, and I think we might be been the only ones talking about it. Because if you go through all of our lectures and everything, we have been preparing for this. It's a surprise to other people. Boss man is running out again. Boss man always run out. I don't remember when he don't run out. Remember we were just joking about the helicopters in Vietnam? What happened last week and what's still happening make that look like a joke. These people, maybe the TV was lying. I was looking at them sitting on the wheels, and the wheels is bigger than them. You see them? I said, dog, they gonna get, I said, maybe they don't understand that they're gonna get run over. And I guess 5 of them, I don't know how many. Does anybody know the number that got killed when them big planes took off? Okay, no, that's fine. It was 4 or 5, but that's okay. I'm not saying it's okay that it happened. What I'm saying is they was putting their life on the line, and they put their life on the line for who? For Boss Man. And Boss Man now has a reputation. This morning I was watching the Face the Nation and one of the other ones. The other one besides Face the Nation. And it was 2 ladies on there. One was an American who had married an American Afghani who spoke perfect English, been here a long time. She got on the internet and found her husband, and her husband is in Afghanistan, and she's trying to get him over here. And she was telling how he cooperated, how he did this. And the other was an ex-military, a white lady. Probably she looked like a colonel or somebody. You know, she had some authority, definitely. You could see by her age and her demeanor that she had some authority. I forgot what they said she was. So she says, she runs down how those people put their whole life on the line for us. Now remember, they were in charge of soldiers, and therefore they appreciated those people. And they spent decades now trying to get Iraqis, trying to get those people, the government of the USA, to let those people come here. And the U.S. ain't did nothing about it. And they had all of that time to prepare. They had all of that history to prepare, right? So you can call it negligence, non-carism. We just don't care about people. But that's the picture that the world gets. And not only the Muslims and other people, but the Europeans and everybody that was with Sam. That's why sometimes it says, in one day Babylon fell. So there's one critical period. This is that critical period. Everything that we have ever talked about here for the last 20, 30, technically 40 years is being clarified now. Right now. And everything they have been saying, the people that's been away from us, staying away from us, telling lies on us, hiding from us, right? Nothing they ever said has materialized. Nothing. Can you imagine? It is nothing that Mellow Yellow, Siraj, Lips, and all them people, they have not been correct. And we have. I'm just saying so everybody will know. This is our legacy to the historical evolutionary process. That's our legacy. That's our gift. You got to remember that this is not a punishment. This is a gift. This is not, oh, I wish the white man would leave us alone. Absolutely not. If he looked like he taking a breather, we'll go hook up something. The white man said this. Boss man bites anything just to get him riled up so he don't take a rest. You nigga said, the boss man, I show him. So he come back and he get a whole new, or revive a whole crew of Negroes. You got to realize, when you're not afraid of boss man, when you ain't got nothing to lose, when I say you ain't got nothing to lose, when you don't consider the things that they consider as something to lose. See, they consider the Masjid, the property, they consider Oakland, they consider we will lock them niggas in by getting their mind on that, right? And they'll leave plenty of gaps in, so you'll see all the gaps where you'll see for 10 years or more all the points that you can hit, right, in their court to get your money back, to do this and to do that. That means that they had two goals in everything they've been, let's say the last decade or two, or the last decade and a half, or something like that. See, we told the people, this is 87 or 88, I told Abdul Malik when he was becoming Amir, I said, I know you the police. I already know that. I mean, I told him that in words. He had one Arab friend there. I said, no, you the police. I said, here's the thing, though. Here's what you do. Get your paycheck, do all that. I said, but send a few signals. Let us, Because by 87, 86, you got to remember those early 80s was a good lesson teacher. That's why in 86 I even passed some of it out. When they got my accordion folder and they didn't read everything I think about, and they didn't study, you got clipboards and you always writing notes and everything. Well, they've already got all your stuff. So therefore, and they're paying attention to it. That's what white man on the line means. That he's going to read everything that I write. And that's been a sure thing for over 20 years. That's been over 30 years. When I came here, we already had the game. That's what we call it. We said, we already got the game. We're just going to go to D.C. to put a few little pieces together. And if we, if we last 5 years in D.C., we're going to become super duper. And after 5 years, we were just warming up. But we knew what was going to happen. Now, this don't mean that have knowledge of the future and, only Allah knows that. But what I mean is, through anticipatory policies, through historical realities, through your recent black histories and all of that stuff, right? And colonial histories, you anticipate what boss man is going to do with you. You just, and hey, man, if you're very accurate, hey, you hit it out of the box every time. There are our people that were genuine, like certain of our imams. They wasn't thinking on that level, and they had a skewed vision of what victory is. So they had an imbalanced view of victory and what it was. Like, if you went to one of their lectures, they wouldn't say nothing about the white man, the COINTEL program. All they would talk about is Salat. You may have been praying for 50 years, so you know all the fiqh of Salat. But you wouldn't remember that. You wouldn't hear nothing else. And if they wrote a book about revolution, that's what it would be, about revolution, Salat. I had discussions with these great personalities. And their view was, with all of their knowledge, that Salat is going to fix them. If they keep bumping their heads over a long period of time, that's going to either run them crazy or bring them deep into Islam. And I said, of course. I said, as long as a white man tell them niggas to pray, they going to pray. And unless a hurricane come, they ain't going to get no upset stomach. Them niggas going to do that. He technically didn't believe it. He had a view of Salat that was different than what it, and don't get me wrong, Salat is deep. After belief, it's the biggest thing we got. You know, and that's what the hadith say. The Quran says Salat is the greatest thing without doubt. The greatest thing without doubt is the prayers to Allah, praise to Allah. Okay? Then we all know that getting married is half of faith. But there's another hadith say, wa sabru wa nifsu liman. Nifs is half. Patience is half of faith. But people don't read that. Okay, the point I'm making is, we live in a very, only thing we used to say, man, that's a trip. This is a trip, what we're living through right now. It's a trip. It's a trip that you sit there and you come here and you give a lecture on discombobulation, and next day the sucker discombobulates right in front of you. That is a trip. Right? Tell the truth. It's a trip. It's a trip. It's not a trip like taking acid and going on it, but it has some of that flavor in there. Like, you know, like taking that acid, you go off on a ray. This is a historical trip, man. It's a trip. To read the Quran and the Hadith and say things about it and watch the people do exactly the same thing Allah said they was going to be. You know it was going to happen because Allah said it. But it's a trip. You know what I mean? It's actually man, that's deep. It's not deep, it's normal. They say the same thing people always said. They did the same thing. They just did it at automobile speed, supersonic speed. But they do exactly the same thing. Exactly the same thing is happening to us. The earth that happened before. And people be looking for Noah's time and the earth was covered with water and this, that, and another. And Sodom and Gomorrah and, you know, all of that stuff. They're looking for watery things to happen. Or they're looking for fiery things, you know. Well, actually, some hadith said the earth will never be destroyed by water again. That it would be destroyed this time by fire. Well, okay. You can pack your fire protective suitcases up, because if they don't, anybody that need any more fire than they got now is crazy. Tell the truth. But the people they have been ran crazy by who? And what they gonna say on the day of judgment? Why did you do that? They said do it. Our leaders, right? It's all there. That's the trip. That it's all there. And all you got to do is mimic what it said. Well, it said do this. It said don't be scared. And then you just say, I ain't scared of you crackers. Bump y'all. Because that's what it say to do. You don't get no extra thing by your name or gold star. You just said, well, that's what it says, I'll just do it. But you do it in your own way at your time, for your particular. Nobody ever came up with psychological guerrilla warfare. Nobody came up with the discombobulating effect on, and nobody ever come up with boss man bites the dust. But that's what it says, right? That's actually what it says. We just Negrolize it with the Negro phrases for our time, right? Boss man bites the dust, you know. But it's a trip when he does. I mean, it's like him walking up, you say, Brother Abdullah, how can I used to talk? We used to call it the I'll be damned effect. This is years ago, over 10 years ago, At that time, it meant George Bush would do certain things. And then you look at it and say, I'll be damned, he actually did it, right? That's called the I'll be damned effect. Well, I'll be damned. Excuse the expression, the Negroes used to say that time, you know, well, I'll be damned. You know, well, I will be damned. Well, I'll be damned. The nigga did that, right? Tell the truth. And then George Bush did those things. And all you could look at is, well, I'll be damned. He actually, you know. And then comes the Führer, Sieg Heil, and this clown, you could read Hitler's profile, whatever you read, Don regurgitated it, except in English, right? I said, man, that's deep. And not that I didn't watch everything on World War II, everything Hitler said, everything, you know what I mean, all the wars, everything, over and over again, all my life. That's all, I just like history a little. So you just get so used to it, you can close your eyes and forecast. That's why we say from Stalingrad to Oakland. Why? Why would it? Who knows what the heck that means? Nobody that speaks English know, because all they ever heard about was D-Day. June 6, 1944, when the U.S., you know, they come back to take back Europe. Right? They don't know that war was already won. Because the Soviets was coming, you know what I mean? And they stopped them at Stalingrad. And the few 100,000 Americans got killed is nothing compared to 26, 7, or 8 million Russians. Can you imagine? That's a lot of folks, man. That's a lot of people. That's why America appears to be the shining light on the hill, but America have never had to go through nothing big. When it started fighting Indians, it had them, they already had if they'd have stopped them on the beach when they got here in Jamestown, they might have had a little luck. But by the time they get into the middle 1600s and the 1700s, technically it's all over. By the time they established 1776, 1787, by the time they established the 13 colonies, it's all over for this continent. By the time they come up with, in the 1830s, Manifest Destiny, that means it's our destiny to be a two-ocean power. And they had people with a little dumb vision. When Boss Man, back in Old Tom, the one that messed with all the black ladies, Thomas Jefferson, He sent Lewis and Clark out, and the Louisiana Purchase, Napoleon was having trouble with Negroes down in Haiti. And he said, I'll sell you that for $3 million. The Louisiana Purchase, man, that's the whole Mississippi Valley, all up to Oregon and all over, I probably never heard of 54-40 a fight, but that was the, where the everything lined up. It's the 54 or 40 means the Canadian, where the Canada and the U.S. was drawing their line of embarkation deep, and so the U.S. had a saying, 54-40 a fight. In other words, on the map, 54 degrees this way and 40 degrees the other way, or we're going to fight you. And Americans was lucky. When things is going your way, they bought Alaska, Stewart's Icebox. You saw it in history. $3 million for 1/5, Alaska. You ever look at that thing on the map? Good God Almighty. I mean, Alaska is big, okay? But that was in the days of the ascendancy of the United States. Whether it's Babylon, whether it's amongst the Muslims, when Allah writes the destiny of a people, when they going up, there's almost nothing you can do about it, because Allah done wrote that they're going to go up and they're going to go up. And then they're going to do whatever they do. And then when they start sliding, there's nothing you can do about it. America been sliding for decades, but look at the last 2 or 3 weeks. They took everything out of the news except the misbehavior, the miscalculations, the miss. And it don't make no difference whether they bring Trump back. He'll just escalate it down or de-escalate it. He gonna say it ain't nothing. What we're saying is this: there's nothing can be done for America but what's written for it. But what it is there open for us is our behavior. Our behavior. But we have to think big. I believe one of the reasons that we haven't went back to California is because, the longer it go, the smaller California gets. Think about it, the smaller it gets. Suppose we get our masjid and our property and all of that, right? That might have been big 10 years ago, but it ain't nothing right now. We got the stuff that has to be done now has accelerated. And we don't know, that might be the exact reason that Allah delayed it and postponed it for us. We don't know. All we have always done is tried to analyze where we are and try to incorporate the vision of the deen and move with that. We've always did that. Okay, we've never mixed any colorism in there. We might talk colorism, discombobulation, this, that, and the other. That's just colored talk. But you cannot find anywhere where we've tried to alter any religious precept or anything to acquire anything or to be afraid of anything. For my study of history means that we're at a unique period. And we believe that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is preparing us, or has prepared. Like we got to make a plan. Allah be already prepared everything. And whether we were prepared to tell everybody about it and view it and watch it, or to get involved and play a part in it, we're not going to play a revenge or a Negro part. Now, you may not believe it. What's happening right now is Boss Man He just don't trust the nigga, that's all. That's basically what it is. Like, that's why we make sure we do everything according to a certain script. And our principles has always been the same. They've always been optimism, love, what is some of the other stuff, all that. Yeah, that's what it is. And that's what we do. But boss man don't believe it. That's his problem. We say we want to play a favorable part in America. The rescue of America, the people don't have nothing to do with it. They ain't did nothing but just be human beings, basically a little slow, you know. I mean, that's what all the religious stuff say. They always say it's the leaders. So, okay. There's an opportunity, and I think it's just a window of opportunity for the good to come out. But we have to look at this thing. The earth has been here for 4.5 billion years. They say it's going to be here for another 4.5 billion years. That's what they say. We don't know. We don't know even which cycle this is. And I'm not going to talk about it because the niggas say, I knew them niggas just give them enough time and they're going to be gone. What I'm saying is this. There are black holes, right? They suck everything in, right? Everybody, they say that they exist. The Quran says that Allah clove everything asunder and created every living thing from water, right? If you can understand English or Arabic, that means, and I had to show that to Arabs, you know, because they wasn't for them to pick it up. So it said that basically it's the expanding universe. It was an explosion at some time, and the universe expanded, right? It was an explosion. Now they call them black holes. You concentrate and concentrate. After 65 zillion years, suppose that Allah done wrote that when it gets concentrated to this point, right, it's going to blow up again. And after so many quadrillion years of expanding, see, we got this dumb time that we live in. We have no understanding of real time. And you got to remember, time is created. There was a time when there was no time. Because when Allah was alone in the universe and always been there, people can't, wait a minute, there ain't nothing ever been. Yes, it has. Allah always been here. It ain't going nowhere. You and I are temporary. 1,000,000 years on earth, light traveling at the speed 186,000 miles, all that happens to be things you can observe. That don't mean nothing to Allah. It don't mean nothing. And we don't know what cycle this is. I mean, let's say, I ain't saying this, but if I was saying, because they don't say if, we don't say if, but anyway, I am saying in a metaphorical way that this universe out here is created, right, by Allah. And you can't see the end of it with a telescope, and it ain't nothing. You just sit there, and your nearest thing after this out of this is Proxima Centauri. That's 4 light years away. That's light traveling, right, at 186,000 miles per second. Time 365 days, right? Yeah, time 60 minutes. right? Times 60 seconds. That's a lot of, you try to put them zeros together. You can't fit them on the table. I don't care what size they are. You can't put them all together. What does that mean? We can't comprehend the universe that we live in unless we go to the guidance which is given to us by Allah. And we don't try to get too spooky because the Creator is going to give us what we can understand because He created us. He already knows, right? We already know, and we know that He's given us the guidance. Why do we know it's the guidance? Because look at everything around us. Has it been written before? It's written exactly word for word. Change the dates, right? That's all you got to do is change the dates. That's all we do. That's why people think, that nigga got a crystal ball. I don't have no crystal ball. Let me see this happen. Let's update it, and then we say it. How did the nigga figure out that's a nigga just like us? Well, we got a crystal ball. We tell them anything we want. We got special insight on this. Yeah, we got connections. Shoot. It's all there, right? Lahu Mahfuz. That's a great tablet. Anyway, dear believers, right now we're living in, this is an opportunity to go big. Big for, not in a million years it won't be big. They'll be doing all. But we have a chance to influence history as it's being written now and to leave our fingerprints on the pages of history right now. And we have a chance to do it good, to do good. We got to call it the good book. We got that. All we got to do is stick by that. We have to stick, and we have to have some inclination that if we're here now, we're here for a reason. If everybody else that came this way, maybe they was here for their time. Like some flowers grow, some are annual, perennial, Some plants throw off seeds, and but they die right away. But some the seeds produce, right? Everything has a certain. And if you put those seeds in a garden, it has a better chance of survival, right? We know that. That's why the garden that we're living in, we are living at a period of religious dispensation. It could have been the flood of Noah. It could have been Sodom and Gomorrah. It could have been any of those times, right? And remember, many things happen that the Quran don't tell us. The people was laid down. They was in their caves with their head because something was working on them, right? All right. And that happened to them because they didn't handle the scales correctly. They did this and they did that. Now, according to that, what about America now? What about America? Does America carry a bigger burden because Allah gave it the opportunity to manage the world? What did it do with it? The worst mismanagement. Well, the British didn't do too good. In fact, none of them did too good. But that's what the Quran said, that we give everybody a chance, right? They got a chance. The Babylonians had a shot. And they did all right. They didn't do too bad. The Persians had a shot. But all of them had a shot, and they did what they did, right? The worst one in history is Boss Man. He done destroyed more people and messed up the earth and refused to listen. The other people didn't have the ability in their time, although the Quran and Hadith might have looked at it in a certain way, and certain Hadith, even in the Quran, I think, is ayat that talks about the sun will rise in the west. Definitely a Hadith. Okay. What's going to cause the sun to rise? That means this whole thing got to be turned upside down. Well, hell, it's been turned upside down now. What more upside down do we need than now? The whole ocean, can you imagine, is turned into a gigantic sewer. And ain't no slowing down. Can you imagine the sign on the highway? Dangerous curves, decline, not 20%, decline 75%. That means it's almost going straight down, right? And they keep on, they don't slow down, they mash on the gas. Isn't that what they're doing now? The earth is in a decline and this, that, and the atmosphere. And the people got to be crazy. This looking and listening. They have fires in California and it's blowing, the smut is going over here 3,000 miles and nobody said, man, the smut 3,000 miles away. Niggas ain't saying nothing. That's the people, when the Quran say, your leader, who told you to do that? We're just following them. They said, we're going over there with them then. We don't want to go over there with them. What it is from the human perspective, we have human guidance from Allah for us. And why not give it a shot? Why not try to pull it off? Hey, you can't lose nothing. In fact, it's a big win. And that's mainly what we wanted to talk about today. This period that we're living in is got to be clear to anyone alive, and to us even more, because we're studying the scriptural rendition, and it's running the script. It's like, not a Hollywood script, but it's a script that enough people can read and understand. And then here it comes. Except it's in modern language. So what do we want? Okay. Crash course in movement development. That's what we're getting, a crash course in movement development. And it's a continuous crash course, because what was efficient, good, and necessary 2 or 3 years ago is outdated now. And what was happening, we could see it clearly in certain times. Like, remember we told the people for years that something was going to happen in the Middle East, and, it's associated. Nobody from Iran and Iraq said anything about it, but we were saying, Allah putting them folks together is 22 million, it's 25 million, and some are even saying 30 million. It's gaining. It started with 4 million people. As soon as Saddam lost power, and it grew every year. And then Agha Soleimani got martyred last year before. Yeah, on the 3rd of January. Yeah, 18 months ago, something like that. So we just said we're going to stay here because this is just what we've been talking about. So for us, that was a sign. Because I came here to rumble, and I had a court date on January 6, 2000. I was going back to California. I just came here to do something. But I haven't left yet. And I'm going to go back to California. But things have exploded so much that the importance of things Boss man think we have your masjid and you can't come in. So what? That is not. Franklin Roosevelt used to do it. It was called delay, something like the hadith. He could delay an appointment for something until it wasn't important anymore. We done delayed going back to California so long. Hell, that's not important. It's not important. They done taken our property. That was in 2016. They took it and it's clear. We can challenge that in court whenever we get ready. Well, you'll lose this. So whatever we lose, Allah will give it back to us quadruple, more than we can use. Another thing is, like right now, we don't know how other people are relating to this, but we're not traumatized, we're not overexcited, we are tripping. Like healthy tripping, though, like, I'll be damned. This is actually, I know, we can go over all the lectures. Well, we said this, we said, yeah, but that's actually happening. Well, nigga, you ought to know. You said it was going to, yeah, that's saying one thing, saying rich is great, but being rich is different, right? And you sit there watching it, you said, let me double check, and you double check all the stuff. That's one of the reasons the other day we was dealing with things from years ago, over 30 years ago, about Deen al-Malik, right, and the Deen of Allah. And then all that stuff that go with it. Most of this stuff we've been through for decades. But now the opportunity is here for us to do our part. But also the parts about Allah being Al-Hasib. That means He's the accountant, right? Okay, now, just because we want certain things to happen, just because we believe certain things can happen, this is where big trust in Allah comes from. That Allah will instruct you on what you need to do at what time, because Allah is allowing all this stuff to happen. And that's why plans and things, you may think you're good at strategic management and planning, but when Rida is to be happy about what happened, but there's another thing to go with that. That's tafweed. Is actually turning everything over to Allah. And it seems like a big thing, but at a certain level, the things are so big and so complex that it can get beyond human, even studied humans. So that's what you trust in Allah for. And that's what we're doing. So everything that we're doing now is during this time of dispensation. So where we go and what we do has nothing to do with what Negroes do around here. Nothing. It ain't nobody can do anything to alter, because boss man think, you might wonder, well, why is boss man spending all that time and all that money on Masjid al-Islam and Imam Musa, I mean, you could tell all of it is, you try to start the car, it won't start. Here comes somebody, fix it, and it don't fix. It's fixed for 3 days, right? Or because they might have changed their mind on something. Or even when you bought it, you might have said, as soon as I get this, I'm headed to California. Something come up, right? And you don't use it for that. So boss man, in his dumb thinking, he says, he ain't using that. They got this out there. I'll mess that up too. And he's not messing anything up. He's the one that's messed up. Look at him. Here we are. Look at our position. We are inside of America with the whole world falling apart. And the meanest guy in the world at this time that's carrying the flag of meanness is boss man. And we're having a Sunday meeting here, and we're kicking back. And this afternoon, if I feel like it, I'll go run. If I don't, I'll wait till tomorrow. So what? Right? Other people are being burned and massacred and right? And they're taking it in the same stride that we're taking what we got here. You know, the people that's being martyred in Afghanistan, they're taking their martyrdom like we're taking this here. Other people look, they say, man, that's bad. They did this to you, they did that. They did nothing. Right? They technically haven't done anything. Okay. Plus, anything they do is to help you get to a spot that they don't even know the spot exists. Allah knows the spot exists. This is where Iman and faith comes in. This is where faith comes in. That you know that every drone that hits some family and they're killed, their death was for a certain reason. And if they lived, their life was for a certain reason, right? And the same thing about us. You know, how do you adjust to everything around you? And I'll move toward a close with this. See, because everything that's close to people, they misinterpret it. Like in '86, when they took my accordion folders, you know, and stuff like that, I had the flag. It says it. This is a big victory. That's what I wrote then. It's a big victory because that was the period when we're easing into this '86. We're easing into this type of mentality now. And my dua was, my sons was with me, boy, and they was picking up on stuff, and I said, and so I just asked Allah to keep them alive long enough so they understand what's going on. Because at that time, they don't know us. I remember that same period, my son looked at me, he said, Dad, this thing you're doing is kind of lonely, isn't it? I said, absolutely not. Because I had been conditioned already, going to the hole all the time in the white man's jail, isolation, they call it, segregation. Every one of them, I used to spend all of my time there mostly, right? So you get prepared. And when you get all of what you was thinking that was big and you get all that money, you find that boss man can isolate you and cut you off right there and you right at home. And there's thousands of people around, right? But he done systematically cut you off and isolated you. He may have helicopters 25 feet over your house and shaking the house and scaring everybody in it. You know what I mean? And stuff like that. And even if it's in the early years, it's not that comfortable. Your eyes be getting big, you know. No, I mean, the first stages of this stuff is big. Because you haven't gotten used to boss man, and everybody that you see boss man with, he said, this is a big nigga, and he dragged him down right in the back of his chariot in front of you. That's your hero there, right? So I said, I ain't going to let no cracker do that to me. Now, I should have asked Allah, because that's what happened. Allah didn't let it happen. But all those changes and all of those things was to get here. Now, the foresight, the ability to see out in front, the insight to be able to see internally how all of those things that's been happening to you, affect your life and your future. And to get a chance to move all around the world and watch all the movements and watch everything and really to study it is a great gift. That's especially at that time, because there's a lot of things happening and that people don't understand. Okay? And to give an opportunity like we have now is to have a picture of reality and want to institute it with no meanness, no hatred, no get-backism, none of that. But boss man, in dealing with us, he's going to have to sit down with me and we have an agreement, right? But of course, I don't trust no boss man's agreement. But at least we'll sit him down and say, okay, boss man, we're going to open homeless shelters all over America. We want you to give us all of your extra bases, and don't worry, we'll take care of all of it. And you got some good men that your CIA know who all your good men are that want to help their boys. I said, we want access to them. It ain't something that they got to figure out is they people going to be help running, because the stuff we got to do, that we see we got to do, it'll take 1,000 years for me and you to put that package together. The place is crumbling. That's what we're telling boss man. Your time is getting short. After another so much time, you're not going to be able, the stuff I'm telling you now that you need to do, you ain't going to be able to do them in a little while. It'll be too late. So that means that everything we do, that's why we let boss man know, we don't have no hard feelings with you, boss man. Shoot, what the heck? A little struggle here, a little struggle there. And the other thing is, you don't have to worry about us getting no authority and power. Yeah, well, you didn't saw what we do with authority and power. When we had authority in Oakland, East Oakland Enterprises, we just tried to figure up something so all black people could get rich, and was doing it. That ain't happening in the United States. Although everybody in Oakland know about it, but they don't know what the cause of it was. So the point is, nobody is charged beyond their capacity, right? And the stuff that's happening right now to do something about climate is beyond our capacity, but we can help. To do something about homelessness, has anybody seen the homelessness lately? Maybe they ain't talk about it, but it is homeless. Unhoused, they got all kind of names for it now. Unhoused, right? Insecure housing. There's millions, right? Millions. Okay, so we ain't got time to be arguing with boss man and we're going to beat the CIA at this and beat that. And hey, bump y'all. You want it fixed? We're willing to help. But ain't nobody we done already used up, that's the beauty about the last dispensation period. The white man can fill up all of your masjid and do all of, you remember the masjid? All of full. If we went there, full. If we went to programs, full. He got the power to do all of that. He ain't got the power to stop the people going crazy in Afghanistan and to do anything that's really meaningful, he got the power to mess with us. And we're sitting here trying to help. That's stupid. That's a guy that got all the information and too afraid to use it. Because this is a nigga, it's a Muslim, or something dumb stuff, right? I'd rather cause some fitna than to give a nigga a chance to. It's stupid. That's not old-time boss man. That's the Zionist. You can feel the presence of the old-time white man. You know what I mean? That it ain't that you can play games, but once you get the game, you know how to soothe old-time boss man. Oh, boss man, I was just playing, you know. All that stuff. I watched my father and them and those people that was old and they had the game. All those old people that I watched, they had the game on that boss man. Abdul Malik told me we was getting some little petty arrest just to play with us, and he watched the way I dealt with the police. Ah, Brother Michael, how is this, that, and other? Because it had his name, Michael, I mean, he's Irish. Well, what do you think about the IRA? He didn't even know. Then he realized, what is this nigga asking me about? So Abdul Malik said to me later on, he said, you can do anything with them you want, huh? I said, of course. They just, been around them too long. And you don't, because you don't have no criteria. Oh, I'm not going to play like Uncle Tom to these white folk because I got more backbone than that. Oh, boss man, you ought to give old Musa a break. He ain't that bad a guy after all. You ever see things around here be going bad, then they loosen up? All we do is go ball, boss man, I tell you. And that fool, not that fool, but that human being relaxes. When I'm telling you that we boss man on the line, I'm not lying. That part that we have anything, we got him on the line. But his enemy and ours is a Zionist. We have to convince boss man that it's the Zionist that's got you in all that trouble with all the Arabs, all the wars, killing everybody. Right now, it's the Zionists. And who don't have no feeling for human beings? The Zionists. I tried to make Zionists laugh and all that stuff. Me and Abdul Haq down there at the Willard Hotel and other times. You can't do them. Those are Zionists. They not boss man. So there comes a time when you have to hook up your interests or human interests with boss man's interests, and you have to choose the enemy of humanity. It is during this period, it's the Zionists. During all periods, it's the Shaitan. But they have the best relationship with Shaitan right now, the Zionists. No, sometime it was the Spanish Inquisition, it was this, that, another. This time, it's the Zionists. And I'm going to close with this. We got the Zionist number. You have never seen us lose anything with the Zionists. All you see is when they write something about us, they stop writing. They don't say nothing in here because we got, I'll show you some. The Zionists, we got them down pat. We make fun of them, and they don't like that. Just think of somebody making fun of Netanyahu. He don't like it. He just, or Fox News. Remember? Fox News, all of a sudden, no more Imam Musa. Nowhere. Nothing. Nada. Right? But all the other coons and everybody else, every time you turn the channel, there they are because they got a program. And ain't nobody ever called them out. I will definitely close with this. We had a program down there, and it was, what was them three crackers I called out? Daniel Pipes and all of them. And I told Daniel Pipes, I said, if you so bad, meet me at the University in Pennsylvania. You from Pennsylvania. If you so bad, I, I don't think I will talk with this Imam Musa. He's basically saying I was uncivilized. I sure am uncivilized because I slapped the urine out of your behind in front of everybody. And they not used to niggas feeling like that, right? Because they give the Negroes a whole list. We'll do this to that, we'll do that to that, and we'll do this. Well, they already done all that. So they mess with my sons, but guess what? My sons got photographs, albums of dead people. And they've been messed with all this time. And the white man wanted to keep them away from me, so they couldn't help me, and he sent them to prison and kept them alive. They still alive now. They in their 50s. One 53 or something, the other one's 55. Whatever he is, he's old, 56, something other. That's children. And they know the game. And they cooperate with boss man. Because that's what they're supposed to do. Don't get yourself in any heat. Right? They're not me. The same thing with my family right down there. Daughters, all that. They all cooperate. They're alive and well. Their job ain't my job. I wouldn't wish this. Well, I would wish it on everybody if they had the stuff to go along with it. You know what I mean? But I wouldn't wish it on nobody that's not. People go crazy. People jump off roofs. I mean, people kill themselves when the white man come down on somebody. Hey, man, they just blow it. All of them, the white people blow it, right? All the big lawyers, the white lawyers, they get scared. They tell on each other. Some commit suicide, right? I said, man, ain't nobody even thinking about no dumb stuff like that. You get discombobulated, and then you start messing around with me, sucker. You know, you feel they're messing around with Allah's religion, but you saying me to make them mad. Yeah, you mess with me and see what happens. I'll bust you upside the head, cracker. Who you talking to? Then after a while, we come back and say, oh, boss man, you didn't think I really meant all. You all right. You just a nice old cracker. I tell you, that's the game. I learned that game from the old folks. They got anything. My father and all of his crew, they got everything they wanted from the white man. We used the white man's tractor, we used the white man's truck. We had mules and horses to plow. But not us. Shoot, after 1950, oh, boss man, the biggest boss man in town, and not only that, and I'll close with this. When my father and my oldest brother, second oldest, went back down south sometime in the 50s, and so they went to see Mr. Word, Ben Word. You know, where every little town had a big man, and they had the whole crew of big white folks. So Mr. Word told my father, so-and-so, I miss you more than any nigga that ever left. And my father grabbed his arm so hard, this nigga, sit down. Just you sit there and mind your business. You know, because he had been to California. You know, we grew up in California. But for the white man to say, so-and-so, I miss you, because my father worked for him and did stuff, he really missed him, but he used the white man's truck. Shoot, we got electricity in 1950. We got tractors. Did you know what a nigga with a tractor in 1950? It was probably 3 niggas in the United States that had tractors. You know, tractors as you drive down the field. Not mules. Everybody had mules. G. Hall, you know. Yeah. Okay. Now, my father, he used the white man's stuff. After he planted the white man's field, he'd come down with a tractor and plant his whole field. And got pickup truck. He used it. I guess the white man would borrow all of that stuff for my father, but it belonged to the boss man. Yeah. And my father's born in 1900. What the hell you want him to do? Come say, Mr. White Man, let me tell you something. Da, 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 da. You know what? He'd have got to be 2, 3 years old. That'd have been it, right? So the game they had back in those days, I learned it because I was young and I used to just sit around. My father was kind of old, so when I was born, so all his friends was older people. He was 45 when I was born. So, if I'm 10 years old, he's 55, and 11, 12, 15. And when I get to knowing something, he's already old, And old from back there, if you was old, when you got 47 years old, you couldn't do no more work. That's with blacks and Mexicans, even people right now, they can work in them fields till they're about 47. And after that, it's all over. Why you think they had them rocking chairs and all that on every porch? I used to tell my father, yeah, if you get in this exercise program. He said, exercise program? You mean doing something? He was really old by then. He was in it. He liked sitting there on the porch. That was what they did. They sat on the porch. And the poor guy, he had a rifle, and we had a couple of big trees, and them squirrels would jump by. I remember when I was small, they'd go squirrel hunting. Now to us, the squirrels, you throw the squirrel, he didn't throw no squirrels nothing to eat unless he was trying to shoot them. He believed they used to go squirrel hunting. I remember that myself. They didn't have their idea of reality was different than ours. Oh, a squirrel, he got a nice little tail, he run across the air, he'd be hanging up in the house in a minute, right? And just think, sitting on the porch in a modern society with a pistol and a rifle to shoot at animals. I said, this is deep here, this is deep. But I'm telling you, you get the game. Them old folks had game that young black niggas didn't have. That they was going to need. And I would say, by the way, what happened to some of my friends, they didn't have that opportunity. They became militant. We all became militant. But that was the thing from those days, black militancy to Islam, right? They all fit in. For them, that first part was missing. And they never knew how all boss man shoot. You good boss man, I tell you, boy, you about the nicest boss man I've ever seen. And all the evil you do is just cause you just got up on the wrong, whatever you want to tell them. And that goes for the FBI and all of that. That's why we talk about them and that in the way we do. That's what management of your environment means. They're part of your environment. You have to learn how to manage them. That's why certain of my friends we know, if they do this to me one more time, I'm going to do that. That's what some say. They say. So they say that they shoot some stupid man that they send out. They got a zillion people they could send them same stupid guys out to play like they don't know what they're doing. And you shoot them, you don't give them one chance, or they say you shoot them, and you're off the scene, right? Then why can you allow them to arrest you, do this, and you do that, and they do this, and you do that? Because somebody's in there trying to get them to do certain things. And that's why you can tell when the Israeli mentality is getting in there, because the Israeli mentality is saying, forget about the law. Forget about everything. We never cared about the law here. But there's a special non-caring that the Zionists have. And if you've been around long enough, you can tell when they're infected by Zionism. And when they get infected by Zionism, it's time to make moves associated with keeping that under control. I know this is a lot of mystical chitter-chatter today, but if you're thinking about it, it'll make sense in a while. Are there any questions, any comments about anything?
My brother asked, speaking of fulfillment of the Quran, where Islam becomes the dominant faith, with Muslims being sent to Europe and to America, would you agree that this is part of the fulfillment of the Quran?
With Muslims going to
Europe?
Oh, no doubt about it. No doubt about it. Remember, if you had a flag that say, help the Muslims go to Europe, help the Muslims become dominant here or there, right? They would never do that. But if they say if we kill all the people in Iraq, we're going to get their oil. So they try to kill them. We're going to kill all the people in Libya, right? We're going to kill all those people. And what all the people do? Pack up and go to Europe, right? You got to imagine now, Europe losing population, right? Europe. Germany, they 2.1 half some replacement. They don't have that. They need for their industry now, especially Germany. First of all, when I went there, they just had zillions of Turks. But now they got everybody in Germany. They teaching them machinery. They teaching them, giving them a good education to help Germany send Mercedes all over the world, right? Europe, when I used to visit the UK a lot, I told them we're trying to develop a Muslim community where everybody in the community is Muslim and they hear the adhan. Well, when I would go, they said, we don't want that. Those are Muslim ghettos. When you drive down the street and you get in a Muslim neighborhood, all the girls going to school have hijab on, halal. They got the stuff we was working on or praying to get, and they didn't want it. Okay, to answer the question directly, this question is already solved. There's enough Muslims in Europe already that in one generation, they will be on par, population and everything else, in Europe, right? Okay, or that is, the European communities is way far ahead of us over here in some ways, but we're catching up here. You got to imagine now the kind of people, the first immigrants, they just loved America and Europe, and they couldn't make no money in India or Pakistan, so they got on boats, worked in the cotton industry in Europe. You know, Malcolm talked about this in '64 in a couple of lectures of his. The blackening of the population in Europe. That was 50-something, almost 60 years ago. He already saw it then. Imagine what it looks like now. Imagine the shift. Just imagine now. During the last wars and killing that they had in the so-called Middle East, when you take Libya, when you take Syria, Syria has emptied out all of its people almost, headed to Europe, right? Some of them headed to Turkey. Whatever they are, they're everywhere. And that's every country that we come from almost. Some of them come all the way from Bangladesh and Pakistan over to the Middle East and Afghanistan, and they go up into Europe. That's a done deal, because white folks in Europe have 1 point something or the child, and Arabs and Africans have 3-point, 4-point, I don't know how many else you can fit in, them little places they stay. I'm done trying to tell you. All of those things are already over. They're already, they already stamped. You could wait 2 weeks. And then the attitude, the Uncle Tom attitude that the Muslims that used to treat us bad at these places sometimes, their children. You've probably heard on the radio this things about care and all of that. What do the young people say? Da-da-da-da. The young women all against it, right? That means the young men gonna be against it too, right? In other words, that they were criminals and they absorbed all of that money, and also how they talking to white people. It's as though, hey, we're Americans. We don't have to kiss your behind to, what you mean? We're Americans. We have all the rights to this. Not like their parents. Just keep your head down and we'll get something to eat and we'll be fine, right? They ain't saying that. The young people now, some of them are, but the tide is changing. I'm trying to tell you, everything is going our way. All the coons, they had a wad them. They ready to string them up. We had to get down there to protect them like we used to before, so they won't hang them, right? Or cut off their hands. The Muslim figures, get some of them Taliban down there. They be want to cut them jokers' hands off. Anyway, for the question, if you were to just lay it out all on paper and have a big table full of the picture of what's happening now, it's all going our way. The period has already changed. I would like to go to Iran and tell them how I feel about them and their past, but whether we do or not, all the people that was against us with Iran, all Uncle Toms, look what happened to Zarif and them. Look what happened to the foreign ministers. Look what happened to all of their people that they got packed in there. Sometimes just tapes came out on Zarif and them, and they not saying rah, 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 in their own voice. It come out. We didn't know that stuff was out. They try to go to Syria. They say, you stay here with your white folks. Medea Benjamin them, right? Remember that? They say you like them, you brought them over here, you stay here with them. You don't need to be over there with us talking about what we're going to do, right? You look at everything that's happening. And remember, 8 years ago, the brothers were sending us all those messages. We want to get you guys over here in a hurry because the government is changing. In other words, you think they knew who they had? They knew who they had then. In Iran, they know who everybody is. That's why you might not ever hear of, what's the old president from back in, he's been under house arrest so long you forget his name. Khatami. Where's he? He's under house arrest. Forever, right? Why? Dialogue of civilizations. Not dialogue of civilization, dialogue with white folks. One to compromise. They know what they got. They know who all of those, they have to play it. When you got all these, when you got 35% snitches around you, right? I'm just picking a number. You got to handle that stuff carefully because they're strategically located in every part of the government, but you got them strategically located too. You got your people with them. And you're making real live decisions. And according to the brother's question, we want to play our part here in America. Well, we're not going to try to make nobody, you got to let us help. You don't want no help? Go ahead. Drown. You want to drown? It's like I was talking to one of the imams in Oakland about certain, his first name is Fahim. You could figure out who it was. Boy, he lived on. We used to be in the community together, and I used to try to get him in physical shape, all kind of. But anyway, he came by the Masjid one time, and I was telling him, I just want to help you, man. Actually, if I see somebody drowning, I'd want to help them. He said, how you know I'm drowning? I said, I don't know. All I hear is glug, 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 so that's the way, this is an attitude. If you lose your humor, it makes you mean. And once you get mean, the game is over. If you get power, you'll be like them. You want people, you got to do what I say because I said it. That's way out of date. So we thank Allah for optimism and humor. And we hope that we're able to incorporate that into the Muslims so that they're not eye for an eye, tooth for a tooth. Justice prevail. That's the code of Hammurabi. That's a little old. Eye for an eye, tooth for a tooth. You did this to me, I'll do it back to you. And, I'm not going to go overboard. And the Quran allows you to do that. But then the hadiths say, it's better to forgive, right? Over and over again. So you got a right to do that. So anyway, in answer to the question, we're living in a serious period right now. We thank Allah for being alive during this period. But we know what the period is. If the other people don't know it, that's their business. We didn't try to tell them. This is the period for this dispensation. And it's accelerating. That's one of the reasons I can get back to Oakland when I get back there. Number one, the time things are accelerated so fast that Oakland is not technically important. To go and get the masjid back, it's good. But it never went nowhere because it's in our name, right? So I don't have to go back there. The property, the big piece of property that's in our name that they sold, well, it's illegal for them to sell it. I'll get it back. We'll get it back, and then we'll charge them, what did we say, $200 million. They said, niggas ain't worth that much money. I said, well, it is. They did this, they did that, da, 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 da. And when they see it, they say, my God, it is worth $200 million. Because they'll add up. If you were left alone, your community would be worth more than that. I said, of course it would. So anyway, are there any more questions or comments? Right. Hey, man, and no slumber catches him, no sleep. Yeah. Yes. Okay, well, starting points is things like we already working about. If you're educated in a certain environment, number one was to protect ourselves and our family, get in the system. You can see the system is getting ready to crash. Not getting ready to crash. Some parts of the system have crashed. The honor, the respect for the system is gone, especially overseas. The U.S. has double-crossed and let everybody down over and over and over again. They got the pattern. The people are saying, why you do this to us? Their soldiers and sailors and everybody else are saying, those people helped us. They were our guides. They were like scouts for us. We can't speak the language, and they did all of this for us. And now we doing them like we did the Apaches, throw them on the train with everybody else. But Geronimo said, go to Florida. You're a desert Indian, go to Florida and catch all kind of diseases and colds and flus and die off. That's what they're telling the people of the world. Everybody is mentioning Vietnam and all of that. It's been caught up with boss man. There's nothing. So what we do, we have to, I don't want to say it, but if there's a physical protection and safeguarding, let the Negro and immigrant do it. It's in his nature. He don't know it. You know, look at Mandela them. Look at Jomo Kenyatta them. Niggas will kill each other, but for other people, they got a soft spot, right? That's what we have to use now. Those are things that are real. We've examined them. We sit there. Ain't nobody just come up with this overnight. We sit there. Soft spot niggas, let's go over to see in history. Let's see, we got 30 times this had happened, and 19 times the nigga did this. And the time he didn't know it, he didn't know what was happening, so that don't even count, right? I'm saying that we have an opportunity to contribute to the world for goodness. So we want to associate all our pain, all our suffering, and all that, and transfer it to a good. Yeah, transfer it to a good. So that we can start with, when we get a chance to get, just imagine, we've been trying to get around just to the universities, and I don't have time hardly to, but we'll get there. But that's the first stage, is protection of the family, and not the race or nothing like that, but protection so that you use a system for you. Because we don't have time to do dawah to everybody. That's the first stage. That's the first. If we can do that, we'll be on the road. And guess what? Everybody wants to do that anyway. But I want you to think about the police departments and the systems, if they got all them Euros from Louisiana and up in the woods and everything, dealing with the police departments, right? Remember, organized people, when they're organized, one can handle 10 or even hundreds of people when they're organized. That's why a police department can keep the whole city in check, because it's organized. It has communication. We have to use all the forces for good. That's, and I'm proud of that we didn't get bitter and mean. Because when you get bitter and mean, it don't, hey, I've talked to my friends that survived. Some of them, they got mean and bitter, and they didn't even want to think about. So Allah removed them through certain things. And anyway, are there any more questions or comments? Did that answer your question? Okay, alhamdulillah. Okay, that's it. Qul qali hadha wa astaghfirullah li wa lakum.